Do you think there are lots of people born after 2001
I do.
listening? Oh my goodness,
I
the
do
youth?
think so.
They're the youth? Oh my gosh.
I believe that there are a fair number of college students listening.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, and welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but still want to be its friend.
And I want to be its friend. I'm Connie. I'm Moiya's friend and a friend to the universe.
Yeah, you are. And you are getting closer and closer to the universe every week.
Indeed.
I am Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist and a folklorist, so I've been a friend to the universe for a long time in my professional and personal lives. Although less so in my personal life, because Connie knows this. Maybe the listeners don't all know this. I actually very rarely watch sci-fi movies for my own pleasure.
Yeah.
But today, for you, fellow friends of the universe, I have watched a new, to me, old in general, movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes. Yes, you have. And Moiya, we were going to watch this movie together. Well, apart, but together. And what was funny to me is that you told me, hey, watch the movie. And when I decided to watch the movie, which, as is my habit to be, I was watching it about 4 hours. I knew it was about 3 hours long, and I was watching it about 4 hours before I needed to record with you. And so I was like, I have some time here, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this movie. And at the point that I paused is when Moiya called me, because I had texted her about the beginning of the movie. And Moiya calls me saying, don't worry about it. And I was
It's
like,
not worth it.
And then you said, listen, I'm going to give it a shot and I will report back. And I'm here for the report back.
Yeah. So what's going to happen today, friends, is it's kind of going to be almost sort of like our normal movie review episodes, where I'll summarize the movie and I'll give my peeves and my thief. My thief one. But we're not going to rate the movie because Connie hasn't seen it, because I didn't want to put her through that. And I also don't want to just complain at you. I'm just going to be real honest. I know it's a classic. I know it's won awards. I hated this movie. And I don't want to ruin a beloved movie for those of you who do like it. Mm-hmm. So after I share some of my bigger peeves, in order to not make a whole episode complaining, I'm then going to just tell you some cool things that happened in space in the year 2001.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Great.
Let's do it.
So the movie is called 2001: A Space Odyssey. It, I assume, is set in the year 2001, although it was released in the year 1968. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah. I might have heard it both ways.
Both ways. Okay, great. It was directed by him. It was co-written by him and Arthur C. Clarke, the famed sci-fi novelist, short storyist. And it was inspired, the plot of 2001: Space Odyssey was inspired by some of Clarke's stories from the early 50s, most notably The Sentinel and Encounter in the Dawn. I have read neither of these stories. If I don't watch sci-fi movies in my spare time, I'm definitely not reading sci-fi stories in my spare time. So I'm not familiar with them, but I can imagine where The Sentinel comes in the plot of the movie, which I'll get to in a second. Mm-hmm. The budget for the movie was $10.5 million.
Wow.
Which was quite high in 1968. Yes. Yeah. It is often lauded for its effects and graphics, also for its scientific accuracy. Some applause is more valid than others.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So its budget was $10.5 million. After its first theatrical release, it was $800,000 in the red. It did not make its money back. But it was re-released several times, and it has now grossed nearly $150 million.
Yeah, and Kubrick is known for being, I mean, I think you can see probably his style in this movie. But he's known for being, you know, like a sublime or supreme director. Like, oh, you had like someone with a very specific artistic vision. You're like that
yes,
kind
he's an
of,
artiste.
yeah, an auteur type.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it comes through. What else has he seen that I won't see?
Well, the only thing I know off the top of my head right now is the cult movie.
The cult movie.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut.
Is that about Jamestown?
No, this one's like ultra wealthy cultists who are having
cult.
Yeah, but potentially based on real things. And so like that dark cult, hooded secret society type thing, sacrificing young women. And then he died during the production of that, or like right after the production of that movie. And so there was just a lot of suspicion and lore and conspiracy around his death and what he may have known or said. That's the side of YouTube that I've been on lately. But from my quick scan of his Wikipedia, I think I'll see if I don't recognize any bigger names.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I recognize his creative vision and I respect it. That does not mean I have to like it. That's okay. Reviewers, when it came out, they didn't all like it either. It had mixed reviews, but it did have buzz. And it currently has around a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So I feel like I'm probably going to offend a lot of people with this episode.
So I'll say, like, I've gone to Wikipedia and there are the categories, like the index has his title, some of his movie titles. So Lolita. We're not doing that. Dr. Strangelove. I don't know that much about that movie. 2001: A Space Odyssey. A Clockwork Orange. So definitely something I could see being his type. And I may have seen like a scene of it in high school when I read A Clockwork Orange, but I also didn't personally fully read. I didn't finish that one. The Shining.
He was The Shining.
And Full Metal Jacket, and then Eyes Wide Shut. So those are his major movies.
Did I think The Shining was Stephen King?
Because it's his book, but he didn't direct it.
Wait, Steven Spielberg.
Oh, no.
Different people.
Yes. Stephen King writes the books. Spielberg directs the movies. And Stephen King's book was directed by Kubrick in this instance.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Got it. It's really hard to keep track.
Listen, you keep track of atoms and space and galaxies, and we will handle all the stands.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let me summarize the movie for you so that you do not have to.
Thank you.
First of all, it's a 2-hour and 45-minute long movie. The first hour could be skipped entirely. If you don't want to do that, it could be condensed into a 5 to 10 minute long exposition. I did time it out. Let me pull my notes.
She got really scientific about this.
I realized early on that I was going to be quite annoyed and frustrated by this movie. So it's 3 minutes of an orchestral intro with no visuals, followed by 17 minutes on what I can only presume is the primal origin of man's nature. It shows a bunch of apes in this like sandy terrain.
Yeah.
And it's 17 minutes of apes screaming and leopards growling and two opposing tribes of apes coming towards each other and fighting. And then the only interesting thing in this entire 17-minute sequence is the appearance of a black rectangular prism.
Real quick, I'll pause you here, Bestie, to remind listeners that if you've seen the Barbie movie, you've seen the encapsulation of this scene. And when I tell you that, like, I'd heard that the opening scene of Barbie, where it's like the young girls and they're playing with the dolls and they're like ripping them apart and then like fighting each other with them, like that's inspired by this movie. And you know, when that trailer, they released that as like their trailer, was like really big moment and it was like connecting to this movie. So I was thinking that this movie was gonna have that scene be about just that long. And it was 4 or 5 times longer than that was.
And that's common throughout the movie. Everything is about 4 or 5 times longer than it should be.
And that was the first place I paused. Like, okay. That's what this is? All right. And that's when I texted you, like, I didn't know that the first 30 minutes of this movie was monkeys fighting.
Yeah. So we're at the 20-minute mark, and no one has said a word yet.
Not a single line of dialogue. Well, unless you speak monkey, I guess.
Right. Actually, at one point, at 38 minutes into this movie, I did start using a stopwatch to time the dialogue and actual moments that are important to the plot of the movie. I'm not going to say I did that perfectly, but in this 2-hour and 45-minute long movie, maybe 30 minutes of dialogue and plot.
Oh, boy.
The rest are weird orchestral interludes. There's an actual 2-minute and 50-second long intermission in the middle of the movie. And then it's a bunch of really long establishing shots that take way longer. There's a 5-minute long establishing shot of this guy. His name is Dr. Heywood Floyd. He's the chairman of the United States National Council of Astronautics. That was like 2 seconds worth of the dialogue. He is on his way to the moon, and we spend 5 minutes watching his ship dock with whatever is around the moon.
Yeah. That's about where I ended my viewing of the movie.
Fantastic. He is talking about a mysterious thing that has happened on one of the lunar outposts. We eventually learned that another one of these monoliths has appeared. Now, when the monolith appeared with the apes, it created violence because one of the apes then killed another ape with a bone.
Right. Primal nature of man leads towards violence and
exactly.
And communal infighting and crossfighting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then the second time we see this monolith, it's on the moon, and Heywood and his team are going to approach it, and it just starts giving off this loud sound, like a ringing sound, and then the screen goes dark. This is almost an hour into the movie. This is 57 minutes into the movie, and the next thing we see is a long spaceship in space, again, for a long shot, longer than it needs to be. That entire first 57 minutes did not have to happen. It could have had like a little preamble text a la Star Wars that says, at key moments in humanity, in Earth's history, a mysterious monolith has appeared.
That's where George Lucas probably got it from, because he watched 2001: A Space Odyssey and was like, we could have gotten to all of this faster. Just tell us on the screen right here.
Yes. Okay, so now we're in the actual meaty chunk of the movie. We see that spaceship, which is called Discovery 1, and it's on its way to Jupiter because that weird radio signal that the monolith emitted from the moon was a radio signal headed towards Jupiter. And we don't learn this until later in the movie, but in the intervening 18 months, Dr. Heywood Floyd and others, I assume, on the United States National Council of Astronautics have put together this mission to go to Jupiter to figure out what is the monolith sending this signal to. So now we are with the crew on Discovery 1. There are 5 crew members, but 3 of them are in stasis chambers. They never say a word. I don't even know if we really learned their names more than once. And we don't form any sort of emotional attachment to them whatsoever. Okay. So when they die later on in the movie, did I even notice? No, I wouldn't have known if I wasn't also following along with the Wikipedia summary of the movie.
I love that.
So 3 are in stasis, and then there are 2 awake ones that are actually maintaining the ship, along with what was like 1968 imagining of really good artificial intelligence. There's an AI on the ship called HAL 9000. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I've vaguely heard of this because there have been lots of references to it.
Mm-hmm. HAL kind of immediately starts acting shady, which if you know anything about story structure, you would expect, because another like minute chunk of the dialogue in this movie is used to explain how HAL 9000 is such an advanced computer program that it's never been wrong, and it is totally capable of a mission like this. Mm-hmm. So of course it's going to go wrong. HAL immediately starts acting shady, seems to derail the mission by telling the 2 awake crew members that something on the outside of the ship is broken. But mission control, like the humans at mission control, are saying, no, all of our readings are saying your ship is fine, but you do what you think you gotta do. So they go out to, well, it gets a little confusing because there's very little dialogue going on, but the two awake ones hatch this plan to go out and check the broken piece. And if it actually is broken, like Hal says, they'll go along with the mission. If it's totally fine, then they know that something is wrong with Hal and they're going to shut Hal down. They try to do this in a sneaky manner where they go into a little pod and they shut off all the electronics so Hal can't hear them. But Hal has a video camera and can read their lips. So figures out their plan. And while one of the awake ones is outside the ship to go check on the potentially broken piece, Hal messes with the pod or whatever so that person gets shot out into space.
Yeah. I figured that was about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. The other awake one goes to recover the body, and while he's gone, Hal kills the three in stasis.
Oh, sure.
And do we care?
Yeah,
Not from a story perspective.
No.
And so then the remaining alive awake one makes it back to the ship, but I don't think he can bring the other one fully with him because Hal has locked him out. So he has to do some maneuvering to get back into Discovery 1. Once he does, he shuts down Hal. And there's this moment that I think is supposed to be kind of touching that I just didn't like because of the current discussion around AI. But Hal is begging the astronaut not to turn him off as he's shutting it down. And then it's revealed that the true purpose of the mission, I don't know what they thought their mission was. I don't know what they thought they were supposed to be doing, but it's revealed more than 2 hours into the movie that the actual mission was for them to go to Jupiter and check out what the monolith was sending the signal to. And this comes to us in a pre-recorded video from Dr. Haywood Floyd. So now there's this one guy in this huge spaceship, and it's traveling towards Jupiter. He gets there, and he finds a giant monolith in orbit around Jupiter. As he approaches, he gets sucked into this light show, this multicolored light show, and it is eventually transported to a palace type of place. It's a very ornate type of room. And he's seeing himself as an old man. And then he becomes himself as an old man. And then we see this last sequence from when he enters the light tunnel to the end of the movie, 25 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Did not need to be that long. No. So he sees himself as an old man. He becomes himself as an old man. And then we see vignettes of him getting older and older until he's sick in a bed. And at the bottom of what I can only assume is going to be his deathbed, another monolith appears. So he reaches out to it. Becomes a baby, a little fetus. Becomes a fetus. And the last thing we see is that fetus in an orb of light floating above the Earth. End movie.
Wait, what?
Yes. Okay. So
Hey.
That's the whole movie. Intentionally left completely abstract. In multiple interviews, Kubrick talked about how he didn't want to burden the audience with meaning. He wanted it to be up to their interpretation.
I don't know what I meant, and I don't really want to explain it. So, whatever you think. And that's honestly, what creators are technically supposed to say. When we try to get them, what did you really mean by the blue curtains? And it's I don't know. Either they know and, they want you to figure it out, or they don't. It doesn't matter. Or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't even think that's what we're supposed to say. I think we are supposed to know. We are supposed to know, or we are at least supposed to understand the range of possibilities for the meaning. So that we can guide our readers or viewers or whatever to it, or leave them an actual explorable amount of negative space. I'm all for negative space.
Absolutely.
But you can't give someone an entire universe full of negative space to play around in.
Yeah.
It's just lazy storytelling.
Yeah, it leaves no direction for the audience to go. Because that's how I felt in that first 30 minutes that I saw. I was I'm waiting for it to get interesting, but also I'm okay, but I am also gonna put myself into a 60s movie mindset. Things are slower paced, but it was still slower than that. I've watched older movies,
Yes.
It's not that unfamiliar
I've seen
to me.
Casablanca. Like, I can enjoy Gone with the Wind. I love 80s movies.
Yeah.
No, this was a Kubrick thing.
Yeah, definitely. Because when I've watched old movies, I have been able to set myself in that time and think about how it's different from movies we make today. I like to break down those differences of like, okay, I see how this works. I see why it's a classic. I see why it's iconic. And I wasn't getting that from this one when I started it. So if you guys disagree, feel free to comment and convince us.
Please. But I don't think I'm gonna waver.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah. So, the abstractness of the ending, obviously major peeve. And that is something that a lot of the professional film critics back when the movie was released griped on. It almost becomes meaningless when you leave it so open to interpretation. Yeah. So that is one of my peeves, of course. I first want to share, I forgot, I have two. I have two thieves that I will share with you. One of them...
Okay.
So my first thief is that they do mention the time delay in communication with these spaceships. So there's when we are first introduced to the two awake crew members on Discovery 1, they are streaming this BBC interview that they pre-recorded. And the interviewer mentions that they are experiencing I think they said like a 7-minute delay in the recording that they are editing out for the broadcast. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that they talked about that. It even seems like maybe those numbers were like roughly correct. However, since they gave me those numbers, I think they said that they were like 86 million miles away from Earth. So it's about 7 light minutes. And that makes sense because the sun is 93 million miles and that's 8 light minutes. So, okay, sure. Okay. But they're on their way to Jupiter. If they're on their way to Jupiter and they're already less than 1 AU away from the Earth, how did they get to Jupiter by the end of the movie? How? And there was nothing showing that there was a big time lapse. So I think they just didn't properly account for how long it would take them to travel from 2 AU to 5 AU. In the solar system. It takes, how long did it take Juno? It took Juno, I think, 5 years to reach Jupiter. There's no way they were having 5 years. So it's only kind of a thief because they got the numbers right in the beginning, but then completely neglected how those numbers would affect the rest of the timing of the mission. And then, truly, my only other thief for this movie, the only other thing I liked is that they took about 3 seconds to look at a sign for how to use the toilets in the space station. Longer than they should have. However, I appreciate that they took the time to actually write out instructions for how to use the toilet, because I paused and was able to read a little bit about which lever, A or B, you're supposed to pull when you're in the anti-gravity toilet. So,
right.
So that
and was accurate?
No.
Oh. Because it was there, right. We didn't build them that way.
Yeah. Okay. So those were the two things I liked.
I'm glad you were able to find two.
As am I. Thank you. And I'm not going to say all of my peeves. That would take probably about 2 hours and 45 minutes.
You can fit them in between the dialogue.
Yes. Instead, I am going to just share my like biggest peeve and peeve categories. I think all the little things I hated were artistic choices by Kubrick, intentionally made to buck convention in filmmaking. So the fact that there's so little dialogue was his choice to avoid, quote, intellectual verbalization. And to make sure that the movie was a, quote, nonverbal experience that hits the viewer at an inner level of consciousness, just as music does, or painting. So he didn't want the dialogue to distract people, I guess, or influence people too much. He also didn't want to use an original score, which was the typical for movies at the time. So all of the score is like classical music. That's just a little selection of peeves, a little taster of peeves. One of my major peeves, the whole movie, way too indulgent.
Yeah.
Extremely indulgent. Every establishing shot was 10 times longer than it needed to be. I didn't need an actual 3-minute long intermission in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, it's interesting that on digital they still included that.
If you're going to do an orchestral opening to a movie about space where you're already clearly going to have a lot of long, drawn-out shots about space, at least give me visuals during the orchestral opening.
Yeah, the black.
I thought my
get
TV
it. It's
was
the black
broken.
of space, but like, show me the actual black of space, and not just a black. At least like a speck of light in the distance, maybe like some stars, like far out, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't like the indulgence of it. The gravity walking that they were doing on some of the ships, where it looked like they were like really, they had these little shoes that would grip onto the floor, and it looked like they were trying to fight microgravity. At first it was endearing, then it just started to piss me off because they started to do it wrong, and not everyone was doing it the same way. And I was just like, either don't show it or really nail it every time. And that's the lack of attention to detail that I expected better. Kubrick. I talked about how the ending is so abstract. I didn't really like that. I will say, though, my single largest peeve, if they had fixed this peeve, it would have made up for everything else. More than the terrible fashion choices in the wardrobe, more than the fact that it looks like all of the actors were related, so I truly couldn't tell anyone apart. But the biggest one is that my entire life, I assumed that this movie called 2001: A Space Odyssey would be modeled after the Odyssey.
Oh.
I really thought it was just going to be like, let's take the epic story of the Odyssey and put it in space. I thought this man was going to be encountering aliens who tried to screw him. I thought he was going to be facing Scylla and Charybdis.
No, I do want that, but no, I don't think I thought that, because I think I was thinking of Odyssey as in like a symphony, an opera, and then how Odyssey is, just a word for a journey. But I guess they don't really, the journey is not as
But why is it a word for a journey, Connie?
Well, yeah,
it's a word for a journey because
of the Odyssey,
so he should have, I don't even know their names. I think there was a Robert or a something.
Yeah, it's not following the right, like, hero's journey of the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you've built up an entire life of expectation in that direction, and then it's
thankfully
not
I didn't have
that
expectation of this particular movie. Yeah. I would have loved that, though. Like, yes, like any space opera is kind of, some version of that. But to actually do the Odyssey, if there is a version of that, someone tell me, because I want to know what Space Charybdis versus Scylla, what that would be. Like, black hole versus what,
Yes, that's so good. Like, who is the space Polyphemus?
Yeah.
I need to. I thought that's what I was getting, and that to me would make Kubrick a genius director / writer. But nope. Hi, friends. I'm coming in later. Clearly, you can hear it in my voice that I'm not feeling well. So I'm coming in after the fact, but I wanted to share some messages with you. The first is that pre-orders for our merch go live next week. We're very excited, so be sure to tune into our episode for World Asteroid Day, all about NASA's DART mission, and which I've been saying we should do an episode on for like over a year. So listen to that episode to get the pre-order link, and then you can get some of our really cool merch. I also want to thank all of the patrons who support the show. Thank you so much. We're an independent podcast and we rely on support from listeners like you. And I'm going to shout out our Sun-like stars, Scott Reynolds, Tom T., Seven Petrichor, Ashley Shambo, Bruce Sedloff, and Kelly Bonnell. I appreciate you all so, so much. I would love it if you could support us on Patreon at patreon.com/palebluepod. But if not, I just appreciate you listening, and thank you for caring about the universe with us. Next, I want to give you a podcast recommendation. It's another show in the Multitude Collective called Spirits. It's a history and comedy podcast focused on everything folklore, mythology, and the occult. It's one of my personal favorite podcasts. Every week, mythology buff Julia and her childhood best friend Amanda get together to learn about a different story from mythology and folklore over drinks. They've covered everything from deep dives into the pantheons of ancient Greece and the Egyptians, and they've done like modern werewolf stories. They've told you where franchises like Pokemon and Wonder Woman get their stories from. I've joined them to channel different folklore figures in the Advice from Folklore series. You can start with any of their almost 500 episodes. They've been doing this for 10 years, so there's so much to enjoy. You can browse through their deep catalog at spiritspodcast.com, or you can search for Spirits wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get back to this episode. By the way, Connie and I had kind of been working on a fan cast for the Space Odyssey, and there's still much to discuss, but what we can both agree on is that Polyphemus should be played by Plankton from SpongeBob. Okay, enjoy that. We're going to move on from this movie now. So, because I don't want to just complain about the movie and leave this episode on that note, I thought it would be awesome to just explore the fun astronomical events of the year 2001.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because in 2001, these people did not actually visit Jupiter
No.
and get sucked into a weird light vortex. But in 2001, in February, the near-Earth asteroid Rendezvous mission, a spacecraft that we were sending to an asteroid to take samples, it made contact with Eros, which is a Manhattan-sized asteroid, and was able to safely land on it. And now we can use that same procedure to safely land on other small, quickly moving chunks of rock out in space.
Nice.
In March of 2001, the Russian space station Mir fell into the Pacific Ocean.
Oh. I don't know that I truly remember that, but I remember hearing about that space station, and it's probably because of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a planned and controlled deorbiting, so they were able to maneuver it to lower and lower altitudes until it was grazing Earth's atmosphere, and then it would fall down to the Pacific Ocean. There have been other deorbitings that have been unplanned or less controlled. So I remember there was a Chinese spacecraft that fell, and they weren't sure where it was going to land on the surface of the Earth.
Right.
Yes, but this one was more controlled. In June of 2001, there was a total solar eclipse over southern to central Africa.
Okay.
And it lasted about 3 minutes at totality, and it produced one of the largest diamond ring effects that we had ever seen around a total solar eclipse. So have you heard of this diamond ring effect?
No. Is it like the corona effect? Is it similar to that?
Yes, it is similar to the corona effect. So it's right before totality, as the moon is just starting to cover the full face of the sun. When there's a little bit of the sun's edge still peeking out around the moon, you can see an annulus. So you can see the corona of the sun, or the very outer edges of the sun. And then there's a more kind of bulbous sun bright spot on the side of the moon. And that annulus plus the kind of bulbous bright spot looks like a diamond ring.
Oh, I see. Because I was looking for a diamond shape, like in the light, but I see why it looks like a diamond ring. It's sort of like the lens flare is on the right side, and so it kind of looks like the top of a ring.
Exactly, yeah. And then as the moon moves out of the sun's path, you'll see the diamond ring on the other side. And the particular size and brightness of the diamond ring is going to depend on, exactly how far away is the moon from us at that given moment and the sun at that given moment. So what are their relative sizes? And, is the sun magnetically active that day? Like, is it throwing off any flares? So that's going to determine the size of the diamond ring. And that June 2001 solar eclipse had one of the biggest diamond ring effects we've ever seen. We didn't see this in the June 2001 eclipse, but another feature you can sometimes get is called Bailey's beads, named after Francis Bailey. It's when you get these smaller, more discrete little beads of sunlight around the edge of the moon during a total solar eclipse. Okay. And I'm not totally sure what causes it to look like separate little beads of light. Maybe features, like surface features on the moon that are blocking or not blocking.
I was thinking like the craters or something.
It could also be maybe some sort of like the corona of the sun is not a perfect sphere. It's not perfectly symmetrical. So it could be just like the sun actually has these different features on the outer edge. But yeah, I love that we have so many types of jewelry associated with total solar eclipse.
Definitely.
In August of 2001, NASA launched the Genesis probe to study the sun. It spent 2 years collecting samples of the solar wind. It had like a stack of disks of metal arrays that would be exposed to the sun and its solar wind for different amounts of time. And they would collect real samples of the charged particles sloughing off of the sun. So it launched in 2001. It spent a couple years at the first Lagrange point, so orbiting in this stable position, and it returned in 2004. It had a kind of rough re-entry to Earth's atmosphere and had a rough landing in Utah. And so instead of getting to analyze the data right away, people had to spend some time figuring out if it was contaminated or if we could actually trust the data itself. It turns out it was not contaminated by any Earth soil or Earth atmosphere, so the data was pure, and we've been able to glean some information about the sun and its chemical composition over time. Great. The data seems to indicate that the solar wind composition isn't changing, at least not on short time scales. I think they said that something like for the last 100 million years, they can tell it hasn't changed. Whoa. I'm not 100% sure how they came to that time scale. I think maybe something to do with how deep into the surface of the sun they are probing with this information. So they understand how quick the material in the sun is kind of churned or recycled or something. But that, I don't know for sure. That would just be my guess.
Yeah.
So it's not changing in the near term. They've also determined that the sun has more of a particular oxygen isotope than the disk and the planets in the solar system. And so if the sun has more of this oxygen isotope, then something happened in the planet formation process to deplete this oxygen isotope.
Oh, okay. So something that the sun has, but everything else doesn't have. We're saying that it's been taken away from everything else.
Yes.
So what makes the sun different?
Yeah. And so they know something has depleted this oxygen isotope, but they don't know what. But just that knowledge, and then once they figure out what the depletion mechanism was, can help constrain planet formation models. So we can better understand, where is the line between rocky and gaseous planets going to be, and things like that. In September of 2001, maybe this will surprise you, satellite radio launched and started operating. So, satellite radio did not start with Sirius and XM.
Okay.
The very first satellite radio broadcast was actually in 1999, and it was from the company World Space, which was founded by Ethiopian scientist Noah Samara, and it offered high-quality music over the radio across North Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, and 90% of their subscribers, of their users, were in India. So that was the first. And then in 2001, I think it was Sirius satellite and XM satellite radio. They both launched separately. One of them was in 2001, one of them was in 2002. And XM and Sirius merged in 2008 because of bankruptcy issues, but they have both been in operation since the early 2000s. Currently, as far as I can tell, the company SiriusXM uses 7 different satellites that are in geostationary orbits above the Earth. A geostationary orbit is different from a geosynchronous orbit because a geostationary orbit stays above a particular place on Earth all the time because it is orbiting the Earth at the same rate that the Earth is rotating.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like this satellite is always going to be over Washington, D.C. or something.
Yeah. And then the other way is...
A geosynchronous orbit also travels at the same speed as the Earth's rotation, but it can orbit over a fixed longitude, not necessarily a fixed latitude. So I guess it appears to be going like north and south.
Okay.
I love that there are all these different types of orbits out there. The satellite radio satellites, they are geostationary. And the way it all works is if you buy a subscription to a satellite radio service, they will send you a special receiver that is able to decipher the signals that it gets from the satellites. So the radio company, they will send a signal, an encrypted signal, to a satellite. That satellite then, because it's in orbit, has the ability to send really high fidelity, high quality signal over the Earth. And because you have multiple satellites working together, you really can cover basically the entire planet.
Wow.
Instead of using a radio tower here on Earth, which can really only send the signal for like 40, 50 miles,
because
maybe.
of shorter light wavelengths.
Yes, bestie.
Yeah.
Yes, bestie.
Okay. And then microwave is smaller. Like, I mean, obviously much smaller, but I'm just reinforcing what we learned a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm
great.
so proud.
Great.
So the signal from the company goes to the satellite. The satellite then sends the signal down to these special receivers that all of the customers get, and the receiver can decrypt the signal, and then you can hear really good music.
Right.
Or talk radio, I suppose.
Lots of that.
SiriusXM currently has about 34 million subscribers around the world. So
I wonder how that compares to like Spotify. Because it's an interesting how we listen to music has changed so much since 2001. It's just like really fascinating.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So that's September, big month. And then in November, the Hubble Space Telescope, which last week we determined was an older gay gentleman like Ian McKellen. The Hubble Space Telescope in November of 2001 found sodium in the atmosphere of a distant hot Jupiter planet called HD 209458b. This was our first time measuring anything, for sure, in a planet's atmosphere outside of our solar system. So that was very exciting. The planet itself, which is nicknamed Osiris.
Ooh. Let's get Egyptian with it.
Yes. Osiris was initially discovered in 1999, and it was the first transiting exoplanet ever found, although it was discovered using radial velocities. And then they went back and looked at it through transits. So every other transiting exoplanet comes after this one. It is a hot Jupiter planet, so it's a massive gas giant, and it's orbiting very close to its star, which is pretty sun-like. It's a little bit bigger and a little bit more massive than our sun. The planet is a little bit less massive than Jupiter, about 70% the mass of Jupiter, and it orbits its star every 3.5 days. It is only 0.047 AU away from its star.
Oh.
So it's less than 5% the distance between the Earth and the sun.
Oh.
It's so close to its
on
star.
Its face. It's just face. Like right in the sun, in its sun's face. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Can't get mad. Can't get mad. Yes, that's what Osiris is doing to its star.
Okay.
And because it's so close, the energy from the star is heating up Osiris's atmosphere and exciting the molecules in the outer atmosphere so that they evaporate away from the planet. So this planet is experiencing extreme atmospheric escape, something on the order of about 1 billion pounds of hydrogen every single second.
I was thinking lava planet. So this correlates. I'm like,
it's a gas planet.
Yes. In my mind, it was a metaphorical, like, oh, that's really hot.
It's a gas giant. And it probably migrated closer to its star. And now because it is so close, the gas is getting excited and being stripped away from the planet. So if you were to look at this system, and you could see all of these little gas particles, you would see kind of like a tail coming off of a comet. You would see a long tail of gas coming off of this planet. Oh. And that is why they call it Osiris, because it is being kind of like evaporated apart, taken apart by its sun. Whoa. And in the myth of Osiris and Isis and their brother Set, Osiris is the king of Egypt, and he's married to his sister Isis, and their brother Set wants to be king. So he kills Osiris, chops his body up into little pieces, and spreads them all over the world for Isis to go find. But yes, they call him Osiris. I thought you would like that.
I did really like that.
Because of the mythology, and also because I know you like when the things have real names.
Yes. Absolutely. I was thrilled. And it's also just like giving like story. The drama of this planet being like evaporated away. There's something just so like cinematic and cool about that too. Very Doctor Who of it all.
Yeah, I'll absolutely have to do a cosmology about this planet now.
That would do numbers.
I will finish us off with December of 2001, where we discovered the Peekaboo Galaxy.
Ooh.
The Peekaboo Galaxy was discovered with the Australian Parkes radio telescope. It's 64 meters across, and it's officially called the Australian Parkes radio telescope, the Australian Parkes telescope, but it has another name that was given to it by Wiradjuri elders. This is a tribe of Indigenous Australians, and they gave it the name Muriyang, which means sky world, because it's opening up the world of the sky to us and our knowledge, which I think is very nice.
Yeah.
So it's Muriyang, and Muriyang was a part of something called the High Pass Survey. It's the Hydrogen 1 Parkes All-Sky Survey. And it's this tiny little galaxy. It's only about 1,200 light years across. The Milky Way is about 100,000 light years across. So it's very small. And it's only about 20 million light years away from us. But we call it the Peekaboo Galaxy because 100 years ago, it wasn't visible to us. It was behind a very bright star in the foreground.
Oh.
Yeah, so the star was hiding it. And more recently, this galaxy became visible. And when we studied it, we saw that it's an extremely metal-poor galaxy. It has fewer metals than any other galaxy in the local neighborhood. It's not in the local group of galaxies. It's not in our galaxy group or galaxy cluster, but it is farther away than Andromeda. And because it's so metal poor, it's very similar to the first galaxies that ever formed in the universe before the heavy stars had time to seed the universe with the heavier elements. except our age estimates for the stars in this galaxy are only a few billion years old. Granted, those age estimates are pretty error-prone. There are methods of finding the ages of stars that have like a 200% error on average.
Oof.
So this galaxy could be older than we think, but it does still seem to be pretty young. And if that's the case, then this is just a very weird galaxy that we want to study more of.
Okay, yeah. It might be queer.
It might be queer. You know what? I actually realized while I was talking about the Peekaboo galaxy that there was a whole example of dark matterless galaxies that I wanted to talk about last week that I didn't talk about.
Oh, man.
But that's okay. I will put it in the actual lecture. And for you listeners, I will tell you that most galaxies we see have big dark matter halos, but in 2018, a group of astronomers found a galaxy, which we call NGC 1052 DF2, or DF2 for short, that had way less dark matter than it should for being a galaxy. Like, we don't even know how it all came together if it didn't have the dark matter around it to act as scaffolding. It's as wide as the Milky Way is. So unlike, this tiny Peekaboo galaxy, DF2 is the same width as the Milky Way, but it has like 0.5% the number of stars. It has 1/200th the number of stars, and it doesn't have a central bulge, and it doesn't have spiral arms. And that could be a consequence of its relative lack of dark matter. But the real question was, why does this galaxy not have dark matter in the first place? Did it once have dark matter and then lose it? And there was a paper in Nature Astronomy in 2022 led by Jorge Moreno, who I've known since I was an undergrad, and they're fantastic. It does a lot of really cool simulations of galaxy mergers, and they did a simulation where they revealed that small galaxies might lose their dark matter when they have close gravitational interactions or flybys with more massive galaxies that can strip the dark matter away.
Oh, just getting their dark matter taken away.
Yeah. That doesn't seem to be the case with the Peekaboo galaxy. It seems to have all of its dark matter. It's just a really small galaxy that was adorably hidden behind this very bright star.
And the Peekaboo galaxy is not Muriang. That's the name of the telescope.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was clear.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, those were the highlights of astronomy in 2001. I know that this worked because I completely forgot what the first half of this episode was about for a second.
Yeah.
So, success.
You did it, bestie. You watched a sci-fi movie and you hopefully didn't ruin it for any of your listeners. I think we've cinched that line. Yeah.
Fantastic. Listeners, if you really liked this movie, I love that for you.
Yeah.
We are allowed to have different tastes and still be friends of the same universe.
Exactly.
So please watch it and enjoy it for me.
Yes.
Because it's art and it deserves to be enjoyed by someone else. But whether you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey or not, whether you were alive in 2001 for all of these astronomical events or not, you're still space.
Pale Blue Pod is hosted by Dr. Moiya McTier and Connie Gibbs. Moiya created the show with the funny and talented Karine Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team.
Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, our cover art by Shay McMullen, and our audio editing is handled by the superlative Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Instagram or check out our website, palebluepod.com.
I, Moiya, am Go Astro Mo on all socials.
And I'm @ConStar24 on Instagram.
If you want to support our show, join our community at patreon.com/palebluepod or send this episode to your family and friends group chats.
We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. We'll be back next week.